Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of SAP Basis Training. In this particular session, we will discuss about customer development. As a basis administrator or as transport administrator, we must make sure that appropriate system settings are available for development team in order to complete any of the development work or any of the project or let's say SAP implementation successfully. First, let us discuss about object locking mechanism. So in the object locking mechanism, we have basically two logics or locking mechanism when you are modifying any repository object. As you can see in this picture, if let's say one program is being edited by one user, then the particular program is locked by the user. That means the object is being modified. The particular program will be locked as object is being modified. And the workbench transport request, which ensures that developer modifying the object is assigned to a valid task in the workbench request. Once you assign the task, the particular object will be locked and it will be assigned for the specific user for modification. Meaning to say, when a repository object is assigned to a task within the workbench transport request, the object can only be modified by the developer which is assigned to the specific transport request. Okay, this prevent the users who is outside from the development team for making any changes in this particular object or in the transport request before the development work is completed and released. Okay. So the object is associated with each task, as we can see here. So each user working on this object has corresponding entries in the particular object list that this particular task, this object is records with the user have actually editing these objects. As we know, the object can also be added manually in the transport request. Let's say, for example, go to SE09, and which we have seen it. We can go to this object list and you can include these objects. That also one way of doing this one. Otherwise, whenever you change or whenever you create any programs, then you are asked to provide the tier number, or you can create the tier number. When you are asked to provide the tier number, you can select the one request and select one of the tier which you wanted to assign it. So that also possible. So once you modify any object which is assigned to this specific task, then you are the only person who can modify at the time. So once the modification is finished, when it's released to the second system, then this object also released for the second developer for their development. So meaning to say, whenever there is a particular program is being developed by one developer, it cannot be modified by another developer. Okay, so we can also see that. Let's say we go to our SAP system. Okay, now first I will log in as SAP Basis. Okay, and I will also log in as SAP Basis 01, the one which we have created, which also have a developer key. Okay, now here I will create one program. Let's keep it side by side. Let's go to SE38. Let's create a program. We set underscore basis program 01. I will say create. Okay, this is a test program for basis training, and let's say execute this program. So I will save it, select one package, select this package and save it. Now it will ask us to create the TR. Let me create a TR. Or if you have an existing TR, if you say on request, you can see the TRs which is already existing. Any workbench TRs which is not released will be displayed here. So you can select one of the TR from there as well, or one of the tasks from there. Then this particular object will be assigned to this particular TR. Okay, so in our case, we don't have any open TRs, which is called, let's say, modifiable TRs. Then we will create one. In our case, let's say bc demo create program. Okay, this is the TR which we created. Okay. Okay, this particular program is going to be assigned to this particular request. Okay. Okay. Now let's write some code here. For that, let's make a simple write statement. Write colon slash hello world. Okay, now this is our program. Create this program. Let me go back and execute this program. We can see this program is right now finished. Okay, this is our output. We got the output. Let's go here. Now if you go to the TR, let's say /n se01, the TR which we created, we forgot. Okay, let's say modifiable, all the workbench requests. I'll say display. This is our request, this is the task, and this is the program which is attached to it. If you double click, here, then you can see this is the object. Now the object is being locked. Okay, you can also manually add this objects here, additional object if you want. If you go to the change option, you can add additional objects, additional programs, it's in existing programs, and you can simply save here and then you can lock it. Okay, right now this has been locked. Let's say if I go here, SC38, this is my program. I'm trying to change this program. Then now it says create a new task, meaning to say that it has an existing TR which has a task inside this particular user who is doing this particular modification. Okay, if you can go to display object, then you can see what is exactly being done. But however, you cannot modify these objects. Okay, so this cannot be modified. This message means that this has been modified by a different user. Okay, SAP basis Nitra which we have logged in here is SAP basis 01. Okay, this is two different users. Okay, so once if I say I go and release this one, okay, and I release this, okay, right now this TR has been released. If I go to the TR, you can see the object lock is already been removed. That means this program development is already completed. Okay, now if I go to this user, let's say I go to change. Now we can modify this. Say WRITE hello This is training. Now I save this. Now this particular change is asking me to save it. Either you can save it in the one request if you have, or if you don't have it, let's create a new request. Let's say BC training demo 02. Save it. Okay, now we have saved. Now if I go to the TR, you can see there's a new TR being created and this program is added here. Right now if I go back here, I cannot do any modification. Let's see, 38 and change, it cannot be modified. It's the same way, the other way around. Okay. Okay, now if I release it, okay, now we did not activate this one. Let's say 38, we need to activate whenever you create any program. Activate it. Yes, seems to be there is some syntax error. Okay, one dot is missing. It is strongly recommended we have some basic knowledge of ABAP, because whenever we have any problems, and it's quite easy to diagnose it, you need to little bit of read how to read the ABAP code, not the actual writing. As a basis consultant, if you are able to read the ABAP code and understand what is the program logic, it's quite useful in sometimes for troubleshooting purposes. So now I activated this. Now I go back and place 01. Okay. Okay, now the TR has been released. Now it is released for somebody else for modification. Okay, that is about the locking mechanism. Once a particular TR has been modified, so we have two purposes which being served. The particular object is assigned to one specific task to one user, then the particular object is locked from somebody else being modified the same program, or that means same object. Now let's see the releasing of transport request. In releasing of transport request, as we know, after the development task is completed, the transport request is released so that it can be transported to another systems. When you are releasing a transport request, you also need the necessary authorization. That's what we have seen it before. When you are releasing a transport request, all tasks should be released and also should be documented. If you see in our TRs, we had a place where you can document all the changes. Let's say if I go to the SAP system, if I go to, so right now we do not have any modified TRs. Let's say release TRs. Let's take one of the TR. You can see here you can document the changes. Okay, so before you release any TR, you can make the necessary document in this place where the changes can be documented in the TR itself, so that you don't need to refer to different places. So you can document all the changes. So as we said, all the task needs to be released first before you release the TR. And once you release the task inside the particular TR, then you will not be able to modify the particular object within the particular task. Meaning to say, if you want to do the same thing again, or if you want to do further modification in the particular TR, then you need to create an additional task. So once the task is released, then that means we already completed the development. If you want to do any further development, you can also add additional task in the same TR before you releasing and do the development. Meaning to say, when you release any task, only the task, that does not mean that this particular TR, that means the TR file, the export file, will not be created. Okay, only the task, it will not create any export file. Only when you release the TR, that time only it will create the export files. So you can still do some changes. We can add some changes to this particular TR by creating additional task. Okay, so the releasing of the object, again based on the versions. Let's say we have two TRs which we released. So this, the first TR will have the first version, and the second TR has the second version of this modification. The first time in the program, what we did, let's say if you go to SE38, this is our program. If you go, the first version of the program had only hello world, and the second version of the program had some hello basics training. So we have two versions of this program which we released at the moment, because the first time we only had one statement, and second time we had the second statement. Meaning to say, in the practical scenario, you can have modification in the same program based on different change requests. So you have a change request before, and somebody says, okay, you need to have the additional logic in this program. Then one developer doing the additional logic. After some time, then the same program that you got a different change saying that they want to modify some of the old existing logic, that some output method or whatever it could be, some changes. So you have one version which somebody else is worked, the person one is worked, and you have a different version, the second person is worked. Once that guy, first person, is released, the particular program the second person can start working at. So you have two different versions. Okay, now let's see how does the version is being managed. So for this reason, this is a known thing that you can have multiple changes in the same program. For this purpose, SAP have something called version management for SAP repository object. Using this version management, you can compare the different versions, or you can also restore some of the old versions. Let's say after some time you done some modification, after some time you realize the changes what you did is not relevant or not required, you want to put back the old version of this program. Then it is quite easy in SAP. You have all the versions which is saved in the SAP, then you can restore these versions. Or let's say when you want to compare the changes between two different changes or two different transport requests, then you can compare these changes. That gives you an idea what is the actual change which was done between one TR to another TR, or between based on the selection criteria. You can see what all the modification done during this period or during this change. Okay, this is quite useful information. Let's say the program which we have created right now, we have two different versions. Let's go to our system. If you want to see how many different versions of this particular program is available, then we go to SE38, then you can go to utility, then go to version, and you can go to version management. Right now we can see here this particular program version 1 was created by SAP Basis, and this is the TR number, and this is the date and time when it was released. And you have another version, the version 2, and this is the TR number. This was done by SAP Basis 01. And you can also see what is the active version. Active version will be the latest version, and this is done by SAP Basis 01, this date and this time. So if I want to compare these two different versions, then we can compare this. You can also compare these versions, or you can also check the versions meaning to say the version management available in SE11 and SE37, meaning to say all the repository object change options. You will have a version management. Let's say if I want to compare these two versions, I will select these two and say this is the compare button. If I say compare, you can see this was done two different TRs which we are comparing. Then this was the old one, and this was the following line was added in this particular second one, the latest one. In this one, that we have added this particular line. Okay, in 12 and 13 was added later in this comparison. Like this you can compare it. Or if you want to compare this particular program with another system, let's say you want to compare with your productive system, what was changed in the productive system and what was done in the development system. Let's say there's some inconsistency you want to find. You have found that you want to compare this version with the productive systems. So because of some reason you did not get the proper versions in time, in these cases you can use remote compare. In remote compare, you can select one version, say remote compare, then you can select the particular RFC destination or the target system RFC destination, then it will compare in the remote system itself. Okay, that will be a very useful comparison if you want to find out some inconsistency between these versions, or some code changes was done, also we can find it out. You may wonder why as a basis consultant we need to know. This is quite important. ABAP comparisons and ABAP code reading also comes very handy when you are doing any troubleshooting or when you are doing some projects. It is recommended that you know little bit of ABAP, so it's become quite handy in terms of diagnosing issues. So let's say right now, let's assume that I don't want the changes what I have done in my in the program, so I want to put the old version back. In that case, I want the old version, that is version 01. Then I can select this one. I say retrieve. Okay, then it will retrieve the old version. Okay, now it says, it gives you a message that you wanted to retrieve the old version. I will say yes. Okay, it will create a TR, because of course this also considered as a change. BC reverse old version. Okay, now the old version is reversed. Let me go back. Display. You can see we have only the hello world now. So this is the active one. Now we can go and change. Let's say activate. And if I release SE01. Now this is the old versions we have. If I go to the version management, you can see the new version is created. Okay, the new version, basically the version 1 we have retrieved and we created the new version. Okay, if I compare this version 3 and 2, you can see that the following line is deleted. So this is quite useful when you are doing comparison. Now let us see what is transport organizer. The transport organizer tool, we can say, is a collection of tools which is related to transport management. The transaction code for transport organizer is SE03. We can also navigate from SE09. The transport organizer, we have seen it sometime before, that merging of object, we can use transport organizer. And the transport organizer have many tools which is collected in one specific place. Transaction code to access the transport organizer tool is SE03. Using this tool, you can find out the objects, or let's say objects in the transport request, and you can also find out the objects in the particular dictionary, or you can also find the transport request reference to some object, or you can also do some kind of administrative things using this transport organizer tool. Maybe we can go into our system and see how does the transport organizer tool looks like. Go to SE003. This is transport organizer. Okay, here what we can do, this is also quite useful tool for basis consultant. You can search for an object in the particular transport request. Let's say I want to search the program which I have created recently. What are all the transport requests related to this particular program? So this also comes in quite handy when you are fixing some issues. You wanted to find out what's the transport which was changed. This kind of information is quite useful. Let's take our program. Let's say I don't know the program name. I wanted to find all the Z program which we have created. Z star. Okay, which are all released from the system. So I will say execute. Then you can see the TR numbers here. We have created two programs, demo programs. This is the 2TR which has the same object, and this is the target inside the particular TR. That means transport request. Okay, if I double click here, then I can see what was done here in this particular TR. So in this case, you can find out one specific object is available or modified by which transport request. Then once you have the transport request name, then you also know who is the one who modified, when we did this modification, this kind of informations. Okay, and same like programs, you have function group and class, tables, views, table types, and not only this, you have additional objects which you can select. For example, if I say if you want to see the roles, in case of you want to see the roles, there is something called ACGR. Okay, this is for roles. Let's say I want to find out all the roles. I want to find out some roles which we have transported. What is the TR number? I don't remember the role name. Let me put Z star. All the roles which we have created and released. Okay, this is the roles which we have created. Okay, so you can trace back all the objects. So it is also possible to filter based on the dates and the owner, also the status, whether it is still in modifiable or in release status. So it's a quite useful information. And you can also include objects in the transport request. This is also quite useful. You just put in the package and you can include the objects in the transport request. Then we have repository entries. Is also quite good to search the repository entries. We are not talking about the objects now, we are talking about the repositories. Okay, let's see. So this repository object is one which we have created into meaning to say one program which we created into the local repository, that is $temp, and another program which we created into the repository, that is Z001. That is the package. Okay, that is also quite useful to search. And to merge, which we have seen. The system change options, this we have seen it before, the SE06. You can also do it here. you can see this is the system change options, which we do it in SE06. We can also do it from here. From here you can switch it to client settings. It's actually in SAP, if you see, there are a lot of screens which you can switch from one transaction to another transaction. That's the reason even the authorization concept also we have to be quite careful, so that you are not switching from one transaction to another transaction because of some authorization mismatched or some additional authorization which is given. This is transport organizer tool. There is quite a lot of options which is available in the transport organizer tool. So based on this collection criteria, you can change the view of what you see in your SE09 and SE03. Let's say if you go to SE09, so if you want to change, or if you want to view, if you want to change the view of this particular transaction, then you can go to, let's say, display, and utility, you go to settings. Then you can change the settings, whether you want to display the change date, or if you wanted to show the task text instead of task type. Like this, you can change the behavior of what you will see here. Okay, this is also sometimes quite useful. So if you wanted to see additional information, then you can modify it here. And same like that, we can also do it in SE03. Go to administration, global customizing transport organizer. Here you can change the global settings on the transport organizer, what you would like to change. These are all some administrative tasks within the transport organizer tool. Next one is export log, which we already know, which we have seen it before. When you are exporting any changes, that it will export to the operating system level, make sure that the export completes without any errors. Then once you export it, then it can be imported to different systems. Okay, with this we are coming to the end of the session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.